Imagine a surgeon's job. If he's not locked in, if he's not completely focused, he'll make a small cut, even though the small cut is just like centimeters away from the real one. That small mistake will cause the patient to bleed and die. Serious consequences will happen just because he is not locked in, because he's not focused. And the same thing applies to other people on their work, even if the work is not as serious as a surgeon's job. If a student doesn't lock in while studying, if he doesn't concentrate, maybe he can read through the notes and he can say that he studied the whole day, but he didn't really learn anything, and when the exam comes, his results will show he will fuck up. If a bodybuilder doesn't lock in a gym, he may be able to lift that weight, but if he's not completely focused and he's not thinking about the motion, then his muscles won't really grow, and after a year of training, he will still look like a skinny pussy, and he'll wonder why am I not growing? So whatever you do in life, if you do not lock in, if you do not put all of your energy into it, be present in the moment. What is the point of everything that you do? And you're just doing things for the sake of doing it, things to show other people that you're doing it. And so a lot of people in our generation talk about locking in your study, in your work. What is the actual meaning of locking in? Locking in is entering a state where you're so focused to the point where everything else does not matter to you. Everything else just fades away, and you can say you're entering the flow state. There are two main parts of locking in, and I'll be talking about the first one, which is getting out of a rut. This is basically the starting point, how you get into the work state, the flow state. And this is one of the most difficult part of the working. It's not the actual work, it's how to get into work. Because you may be procrastinating, you may be doing something much more funner before you're doing the work. And all of this is because before you get into work, whatever you're doing might feel much more enjoyable, much more relaxing, much more comfortable for you to stay in. You may be talking to your friends, you may be scrolling your phones, scrolling TikTok and Instagram reels. And from going to that to going into deep work, it might seem like a drastic change that is very difficult to get into. Who wouldn't want to just stay back in that comfortable zone where you can just relax and not be stressed about work? Here's the thing, why is it actually that hard to get into that work mode? This is what you're thinking inside your mind. You're thinking about the big task, about the long, tiring work session, the peak and the hardest part of the work. You're thinking about that part. You feel very overwhelmed by all of the work that you're going to do next, and that's why you don't want to do it. But that is a mistake, because it's actually not that hard to get into all the work. All of the work is not actually as difficult as you imagine it to be. You think about life in two modes, the work mode and the rest mode, or the playing mode. In reality, that's not the case. It's a spectrum. It's a continuous range of difficulty where you ramp up the effort you put in your work. And so if you think about it in this way, in the spectrum, then it won't be too hard to move slowly and continuously along that spectrum and slowly get into that flow state. You're not forced to just flip a switch and get into work and do all of the hard, difficult stuff. So how do you actually going to implement this? Think of the task that you're going to do step by step, from the easiest to the difficult step. So let's use the example of going to the gym to work out. The first step you're going to do is something as simple as putting on your socks, putting on your shoes. Don't tell me you can't do that. You can do that, right? And the next step is to walk to the gym, and that may be hard and you need to put some effort into it, but it's still not that difficult. And after you get to the gym, you can start by warming up. Is it hard to lift the lowest weight? No, unless you're really fucking weak. When you do all of these steps, step by step, by putting in a little bit and a little bit more effort, it will not be overwhelming to you. It does not seem like a huge jump in difficulty in your work. And just like that, you can easily, step by step, ease your way into that work, into that flow state, to get yourself to lock in without much difficulty. And this is the way of getting out of a rut. Think of the difficulty of whatever you're doing as a spectrum, from relaxing to your working, and slowly move towards this side. We've talked about getting out of a rut, how to get into the flow state, and now I'll be talking about how to maintain your energy and focus in that flow state, to be able to be locked in for long periods of time. Let me ask you a question. Why do you enjoy playing video games? Why is it so addicting and makes you want to play more and more without stopping? You feel like you're steadily progressing in that game. Whenever you level up, whenever you get a new weapon, whenever you like upgrade, you feel good that you've done something and you want more to level up. That is the most important feeling. When a game is too difficult, however, you feel like you're not motivated to play it because you feel like there's no chance that I'll beat it, so what's the point? But when a game is too easy, you also feel unmotivated because it's too easy. Once I've done it, it does not mean anything, so there's no point playing it anyways. And so you need to find that balance between difficulty and easiness, so that you feel challenged and you feel like you completed that level and you deserve to do it. That level up is something that you've earned yourself. That feeling of progress is fun and addictive. That's why you want to play video games so much rather than improve yourself in your real life. But what if you use that principles of being addicted to games in your studies, in your work, in whatever you do, to be able to lock in, to be able to be feeling that progress and be addicted to whatever you're doing? Find the balance between difficulty and easiness in your work, and then you'll be able to enter the flow state for a long time. Let me use studying as an example for this. Reading notes. Is it that hard to read notes? You're just looking at it, you're just pronunciating it in your mind. And it's so easy, it's something that you can just do without much effort. Obviously, if you're trying to understand it, it will take more energy, but it's easy to lose focus doing something as easy as reading your notes. And then when you lose focus, you won't even know because it's something that happens unconsciously. So reading notes is too easy, but what if you're memorizing notes? Then that'll be too hard because it's too much stuff to memorize. There's so much energy and mental space that's taken up when you're memorizing your notes. What about doing questions? Then that's not too easy and that's not too hard because the objective is clear and you can just look at the answers if you don't understand it. So there's a balance between difficulty and easiness when you're doing questions. So that's something that you want to focus most of your energy on so that you can get that feeling of progress. Once you finish one question, you want to do the next, and you finish one whole set of questions and you want to do the next set. Obviously no one enjoys doing this shit, but if you're able to put most of your energy on this balance between difficulty and easiness, then you'll be able to lock in more than you would be if you're just reading notes or memorizing them. And there's another technique that I've seen people use, which is quite common, and that is writing the notes while you're reading them. Writing it down on a new piece of paper so that you feel that feeling of progress at the same time as you're understanding it. This is quite good because it's not that easy. You have to understand it and write it down in your own words. And it's not that hard too, because the notes are in front of you already. And so in whatever you're doing, if you can find this balance between difficulty and easiness, then it's much more easy to feel that feeling of progress, the feeling of leveling up in whatever you're doing. That's what makes you crave that improvement, crave that progress. I have a lot of people asking me, why are you so good at so many things? You're good at piano, you're good at working out, you're good at studying at the same time. Well, if you're able to lock in at whatever you do, then you'll be able to get the most of the results. Apply these mindsets in your life, and then you will be ultra focused. You would find purpose and meaning in whatever you do because it actually meant something to you. Joining us on this journey of self-improvement, our future is bright.